this week's episode of We Are Next. This week I'm sitting down with Madi Fuller, who is I don't know your exact job title, but I know it's something Talent Bridge with Brock. So
yeah, it's Talent Bridge Manager. Yes, we'll get into it.
We'll start with you explaining what that means exactly.
Yeah, so I'm the Talent Bridge Manager at Brock University's Co-op Career and Experiential Education. So Talent Bridge is a brand new program within that department. So we connect new grads to industry-specific training and then also employment opportunities too. And COVID obviously impacted that in a negative and good way. Negative because we had to move everything online, and then positive, I guess, was good timing for a lot of grads as well to kind of get a foot in the door with their career. But yeah.
Okay, so that's a really cool and exciting new program that I think is kind of long time coming. It's something that Brock could have used years ago. And what has I feel like you've been very instrumental in that getting off the ground. So do you want to explain a little bit of what your role was?
Yeah, literally from, I got brought in almost a year ago now, and my job was to get employers on board with it, because the goal was to connect students to employers that are interested in hiring new grads. So I had to get employers, interested in it. I had to put together the curriculum for the program. So it was a 12-week program from June to August, and it just finished last week actually. And then we had to put it out to students. So, and then like my day-to-day when the program is actually starting is I do a lot of one-on-one mentorship with the students or with the grads, because they're just starting their career. So many of them are kind of like, oh, what should I do? What should I be looking for when I'm looking for a job? And we go through skills building training with them too. So we did kind of a 4-week circuit of teamwork, effective communication, design thinking, and leadership. So I facilitated kind of bringing in external facilitators for that. So we had people like someone that was the leader of HR for BlackBerry, this one woman that worked for Microsoft, like these really cool, amazing people that came in. It was kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity for some grads who might not get a chance to kind of get exposed to that professional development.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so just a lot of mentorship, a lot of project management of just making sure everything is in line, and the student, and I keep on calling them students, they're grads. And all the grads are like in place of what they need to succeed in the program. But yeah, it's the first cohort was a lot of fun. So
okay, so as someone who is a grad, Brock University grad, but like a couple of years ago, I want to do this. This sounds amazing.
Yeah. So right now, if you've graduated within the past 3 years, so I think we'd both be considered within that.
Oh wow, okay. I was kind of being sarcastic, but that's awesome.
Yeah, so we like this cohort, everyone that graduated, I think the earliest someone graduated was like fall of 2019 kind of thing, or like January 2020 or whatever. But yeah, so we did open it up to grads, because it's always hard, like especially grads that graduated fall or spring 2019, and they didn't necessarily, or they were in an entry-level job or whatever else. Usually those would be the first ones laid off if certain industries were hit by COVID. So it's really hard for those grads that were in those more vulnerable positions or contract positions, because they were hit first. So we wanted to make sure that they knew they could do this program as well.
That's such a great example of a pivot that's really impressive, because you're right, those are the people who are the most vulnerable, and this is also the program that's do the most for them.
Yeah, and that's a perfect word of pivot, because we literally, when COVID happened, originally Talent Bridge was the same program of what we delivered, but it was supposed to be 4 months and all on campus. So it's supposed to be in the new Link building at the front of campus now. So I was like, okay, we got to bring this online, and we brought it down to 12 weeks just to make it concise, just because of an online format. So yeah, we did that in about like a month.
That's super impressive. And I mean, so we're talking about this, and you just said you would be included in that 3-year grad, but so you graduated Brock 2017, but then you went to Niagara College. So like, you're creating this program while still being an incredibly recent grad yourself. So I'm really curious, like, how did you get this job? I know you're like, and you're more than qualified. That's the thing. You had the experience applying for it, but like, how in three years, that'd be 3 years now, does someone get that amount of experience to be able to put this together?
That's so okay. So I was really lucky because I got a great job at Niagara College and I was managing their entrepreneurship program. So it was like a government funded program that would help student entrepreneurs. So I had about almost 2 years of that. And I also went back to school at Niagara during that. We were in like the same year.
Time.
Yeah, at the same. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I want to shift into more of like the career development lens, I guess HR lens of things. But I think it was really my experience from on campus. So when I was a student, and we both worked on campus during our time at Brock, but I would always work on campus. The 1 year I wasn't working, I was working on my own startup. So I think it was a bit of that and making sure that the co-op office also knew who I was, because I was an annoying co-op student that would always ask them where postings were and all that stuff. But yeah, I just think people knew me at Brock. And then it's funny, I mean, maybe we'll get into this a little bit later about like picking a good career and, you know, what people negatively call career hopping. But I started a position in Hamilton. I was 3 months in, and my current director of the department reached out to me on LinkedIn and was like, hey, I love your entrepreneurial background. I think that's what we need for this program. Would you be interested in applying? And I said, sure. I didn't know who else was in the running. I didn't know, like, you know, I didn't know what the process was going to be. So I went through and then I got the job. But I think it was just the entrepreneurial, it might not have been, I don't have that traditional management experience of managing people. That's eventually what I would love to do. But it was more of my experience of bringing things off the ground to where, you know, where it needs to be. So
that's, yeah, I feel like that's your like niche, that's your specialty, is getting things started and getting going. And then, like you said, like you, not negative career hopping, but I feel like you do have such a vast background for someone your age, who were a lot of people, I think, who are our age or start in a position like that would be nervous about leaving. So I'm curious what like advice you have to give to people about if they're not happy in a job, or if they kind of know it's run their course, what they should do or what their steps should be, in your personal opinion.
Yeah. So I think that career hopping is such a negative thing. Like I remember I had this even when I was in high school starting roles. I didn't like my job at Tim Hortons. I liked it for about like 2 months, and I was like, after I was done training, I was like, I was like, I don't know if I like this whole like engaging with customers thing, and, you know, getting yelled at for bad orders. And, you know, I did other things like in high school, and my parents would always be like, you need to stop. You can't hop jobs when you're an adult. You need to stay in a job and stay there. Like, you can't do that. So I've always had kind of like a dilemma in my mind where I'm just like, what is a career? But last summer, when I was done my postgrad in HR, I went and took an internship position at a cannabis company, which was a lot different than what I was doing at the college. I wasn't managing my own program anymore. I was, you know, I was trying to get some mentorship and all that good stuff. But the cannabis company got bought out, and it was a shit show. I don't know if I can swear on this.
I don't know either. We'll figure that out.
But it was crazy. Like, it was like, it got bought out, a whole bunch of people were laid off. Like, just being acquired by a huge company can change a lot of things. And I was like, what the heck? I was like, I kind of put it out in the atmosphere, in the environment. I was just like, I need something else. I can't do this anymore. I don't have the mentorship I want, because everyone was so busy. So that's when the Regional Innovation Center of Hamilton reached out to me and was like, hey, we have a job opening. Do you want it? So then I jumped after like 2 or 3 months with the cannabis company. I went to this other location, and it was a great workplace. Like, I was working with startups again, a little bit of it was like an admin assistant role, which isn't a big deal whatsoever, but that's just not what I went to school for, not what I wanted at the time.
Right.
And then that's when Brock came. So I jumped to another job after 3 months again. And I was embarrassed. I didn't want to post it anywhere. I didn't want to post, not that that's an indication of anything, but I didn't want to post it on LinkedIn or Facebook, because I was so embarrassed that I jumped from job to job. But I realized that employers always understand, especially if you're taking just a position that makes you happier or that helps you jump in your career as well. But also, you cannot consume yourself with what other people think. And that sounds so cliche, like so cliche, but like, you gotta I think the most, when you get to the point where you can completely self-reflect on what you want in your career, and you kind of create your why, again, kind of cheesy, but if you create your why, your purpose are kind of like the middle of a wheel for you, and you fill in the other areas of the wheel of what you need to get there. And that can be fluid too, right? Like that can change, like that changes for me all the time because I'm a Libra. So but I think it's just making that focal point, even if it's for 6 months, and staying true to that, but also just staying true to yourself and being honest. Because when I left the Regional Innovation Center in Hamilton, the first day I heard from Brock being like, hey, do you want to apply for this position? I told my boss, my boss in Hamilton, I was like, hey, just to let you know, I have this opportunity that came to me. I'm going to be completely direct and honest with you, and let's have a career conversation about my career, and this is what's happening. So I'm showing that I care about you as well, and I don't want to leave you
being respectful.
I don't want to leave you in a bad position. And usually if employers aren't good with it, it's probably good you're leaving. But if they are, it makes things so much easier for you that you can just be open about your career.
And I feel like it works both ways, right? I mean, my parents are the same way. Like for them, it's a career. You go into your job, you stay there till you retire. But the whole time you're there, you're made to feel like, oh, you're replaceable. You like, if you can easily be replaced if you leave or if you mess up or stuff like that. So it's kind of turning that on its head, where it's like, if I'm easily replaceable, then you'll be fine if I leave for something better. And especially when you can be, what's the word I'm looking for? You can have that open communication with them, because if you're not feeling it, maybe they're not feeling it, and you want someone. Jobs, I feel now, especially in COVID, are about fit. So if you're not a good fit for the position, why would they want you to stay in it when there's someone out there who would be the perfect fit for it?
Exactly. And I think, especially if you're in a management position and you are in a position where you would be the person that someone would come to when they are giving in their notice or when they're not happy, you need to also be the manager and the people manager to be like, hey, you need to do what's best for your career. Stay in touch. Tell me if you need anything. Because at the same time, like, as much as, like, it sounds kind of harsh when we do say, oh, you could replace me easily, like I shouldn't care. I don't think it's so much that we can be replaced easily. It's that there's very good talent out there.
Yeah.
I think especially right now, I think especially people our age and younger, really new grads get a bad rap that they can't take on larger positions than what is traditional for new grads. Like, they have to start off at the bottom. They have to, and someone took a chance on me when I was, how old was I? 21, or however old, 21, I don't know. However old I was when I graduated. And someone took a chance on me, and, and I think I did pretty well at Niagara College, and that really propelled. And I think more grads need a chance. And I think employers need to also realize it takes maybe it takes you a little bit of training, but it also, it creates really good people, not just employees or workers,
people in society.
Yeah, exactly. So
good humans.
Yeah, and it's people that can be self-reflective, because the moment that I realize that I need to, take control of my own career and keep true to whatever my circle is at the moment, that's when a lot of guilt went out the window. A lot of, self-doubt about saying, like, I don't know what I want to do with my life. We all don't know what we want to do with our life, but you can always be confident in kind of what you want, what you care about, and what you want to do. But yeah,
that's super exciting. And I heard you mention a couple times, like, through the different positions that you've been in, the importance of mentorship. And I'm wondering, because I feel like a lot of, I mean, for me, it's totally been integral to my career as well. Like, my manager currently was my mentor previously, and I would not be the professional I am without her. But what about people who have, like, a hard time finding those mentors, or what's the best way to seek out mentorship? Because I feel like there's places in Niagara for you to do that actively.
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think firstly, it's like redefining what mentorship is in our head, because a lot of people think mentorship is like calling up someone and be like, hey, do you want to be my mentor? Okay, I'm going to send you the contract in the mail, sign the
monthly
dotted line.
Coffee dates. Yeah. Or like call at the exact same time.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, I have major mentors, but I also have mentors where it's like, I had a coffee with you once, but some of the stuff that you shared with me, the tips you shared with me, whatever, really changed how I viewed, whatever situation I was going through in my life at the time. So I think it's realizing that it could be just one virtual coffee chat now. It doesn't have to be something that is so formal. I do know that I do know WIN has a mentorship like circle group as well. But I think it's like just, for example, LinkedIn, people kind of get scared of being like, oh, I see someone who like, I really admire their career path or their career trajectory or whatever they're doing. And I would love to get a coffee with them, but I'm scared they're going to find me annoying. The worst thing that will happen is that they won't answer you back. That's literally, I know it sounds like, I'm sure everyone has heard that before. The worst thing that could happen is that they won't answer you back. But it's even simply like picking a region, like for example, Niagara. Someone like, I want to chat with someone that is doing something that I would love to do in a year or two. Just reach out to them and be like, hey, like, I really appreciate, where you've been in your career, and I'd love to get a coffee chat. A recent grad from the HR postgrad program did that earlier on in the pandemic. I don't know who he is. I've never met him. And he reached out to me on LinkedIn and he was like, hey, can we just have a 30-minute phone conversation? And just like, I just want to chat about your career and what I want to do too, to see if you have any tips. And it's also about giving a time limit too, especially for those like informal mentorship things, because people are busy.
That's such a good point.
Everyone's busy. So just saying like 30 minutes of your time, done. And like, if you do want one of those formal mentors, I think it's the more you get involved in the community as well, the easier it is to kind of form that. So like, for example, Julie Rorson is one of my mentors, but she wasn't my mentor the first time I met her. She became my mentor because we were involved in planning the Niagara Leadership Summit. We both sit on the YWCA Niagara board. So it's just kind of, actually, she's my formal mentor through the board program. But before that,
formal
she was
exactly.
I forgot about that. But it's a process. It's not something you just like stumble upon. It can be something that, is over time someone becomes a mentor. So, but I think it's really, really important to kind of have that champion or champions.
Absolutely. And you're so right. Just reaching out through LinkedIn, just shoot your shot.
Yeah.
Do it.
No, exactly.
And it feels good. Like people feel good when you get a message and you're like, hey, I really admire you and your career path. Who wouldn't feel good getting that message, even if you don't respond?
Yeah, and half the time it's flattery too, right? Because like when this random guy from the postgrad program reached out, I could have been like, what the heck? Like, I'm busy. I don't want to waste my time. But I also was like, okay, that's really nice though, that like someone took the time to look at my profile and they're taking the time for their career as well. And I think a lot of people respect that. Yeah.
And so like giving networking, all these career development tips, I feel like this is your niche also, not just startups, but also career development. And I know when we've talked before, you've kind of mentioned starting your own thing in that area. So what does that look like? When can we expect it? What will you be offering? I want to know.
Oh, okay. I need to make an official plug. Okay. So at the beginning of COVID, I don't know where, I've always liked reviewing people's resumes. I always I just think a resume is much more than a resume than what we think it is, of like a directory of everything you've done. So I put it out there on Instagram and I said, hey, like if anyone needs a recent grad, or you're just laid off, or literally whoever, reach out to me. And I'll review I'll do a free resume review for you. So I kind of tried to create some processes on my back end of like what this will look like, what document I'll send them, if I'll use like Canva, whatever.
Right.
And like 15 people reached out to me like the first week.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, but like that's like good friends, but then also like people from high school that I haven't spoken to in forever. So I would just like set up like a 30-minute Zoom call with them. And then half the time we just started talking about their career. Like I would tell them like what I would change on their resume, like from formatting, like to like the aesthetic of it, to the actual words you use in it. But then we just started talking about, okay, how do I like stand out? How do I, build a career that, makes me happy and like centers like my, my values and
the
like
why.
the why around that. So then I was like, oh my gosh, I love giving career advice. And yes, I do it in my job in some capacity, but with people younger than me, which isn't a big deal, but people in university. And so I was helping with a lot of people that were my age or older. Even some high school students I spoke to, which was kind of fun. Yeah, that was fun. fun. But then I realized that half the time we just started talking about their career and talking about like your resume is really your story. It's not, like I said before, it's not some like like you can have fun. You
There's
can put
an art to it.
And it's about, and I don't care if you've never had a paid job before. I was telling this to some high school students that I was reviewing for. I don't care if you have no paid job experience. It's about translating the skills that you're learning from whatever it is. Like even if you started a side hustle, like that was just like an Instagram page or like a collective of some kind, you can put that on your resume under relevant experience. It does not say paid. It does not say a traditional.
Relevant.
Yeah, it doesn't say traditional work position, but you try to, you know, dissect the skills that you learn from each experience and put that on your resume as a story. Exactly. So, so, and then again, like I said, half the time we just spoke about career stuff.
Go off.
Yeah, and I loved it, and it was so fun, and I found that people our age don't have someone to go to get advice from. You have your parents, but your parents don't
totally changed. It's totally changed.
So different.
Yeah.
It's so different. I mean, like my mom is awesome at giving me career advice to an extent. But when it comes to like practicing, like getting someone to help you get into like that self-reflective mode of what you want, you know, you need someone that can relate to you. And I feel like I can relate to obviously a lot of people our age about the feelings of not knowing what to do. And I was like, you know what? I feel like we don't have someone to go and talk to. So
or the people who we would have or who we think to go talk to, it might just, they're at a different level than we would be at. They don't remember what it's like coming out of university recently. Or maybe they have, but I don't know. I would go to you for that advice anyway.
And I'm just very passionate about it. Like I did a personal statement exercise in a group that I was a part of in Hamilton, that Jamil actually, Reaching for Power with Jamil by YWCA Hamilton. And I put together my personal statement, and it was like subconsciously I put together, I forget what it was exactly, but it was like helping people connect their values, skills, like personhood to a job that they love, or jobs that they love, a career that they love, and that they can, you know, we're not all gonna like the jobs we have, but as long as you're happy with like the choices you're making and you're confident in making the best moves for yourself, like that, you know, trumps any kind of, you know, moving on to a new job if you don't like it or whatever else.
Or monetary or title, like it's about values at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. So, we'll see. I'm trying to formalize some things now. I'm getting a website put together.
That's awesome.
Which is crazy. I've been doing some speaking engagements as well. So COVID has been very tough, but I feel like it's been a good opportunity to also do the things I've wanted to do for a long time, but I was so busy with in-person stuff.
Well, you've adapted. So like between Talent Bridge and doing those online resumes, like adaptation is a strong suit of yours, I think.
It's key, guys.
So, okay. So say someone watches this. I don't know who's going to watch this. Whoever's watching this and you want to reach out to Madi and you want to get your resume looked at, how do they reach you?
They can email me, so my email is just literally full Madi. So like, cause I'm full.
Great. Yeah.
FULLMADI. That's not actually why my email address is that. My last name's Fuller. So fullmadi@gmail.com, or they can follow me on Instagram. And I think my handle's @Madi Fuller.
Cool.
I'm pretty positive. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's that, but MADIFULLER. I'll have a website up soon, and the website domain is just www.madifulleronline.com.
Awesome.
But yeah, again, it's and the other thing I do want to like put light to as well is that this has been a really hard time for a lot of people that have been you know, laid off, people who this really hit their mental health hard. And I think it's also important to just center around the fact of just being nice and making time for your friends, and just making time for people that you haven't made time for in even years, because you never really know where people are. And that could be just giving, you know, career advice or responding to someone's Insta story being like, cool. I think it's just important to center, like, just giving support to people right now as well.
Okay, we're gonna end with like a rapid fire, just fun, stupid questions, okay?
Okay, cool.
Okay, ready? Tea or coffee?
Tea. Almost like coffee.
Winter or summer?
Summer.
Summer. City or country?
City.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
I'm running out of ideas. Cat or dog?
Cat. Duh.
What else? Okay, nope, that's the end of my rapid fire. That was stressing me out.
No, thank you. I think this was I probably was all over the place, but I think the general gist of what we were trying to get at was there.
I think it was just like a good professional development, young people in the workforce chat. It was great.
Cool. Thanks, Katie.
Thank you so much for talking with me, Maddie. I will talk to you later.